Have you ever been truly, deeply thirsty in your life? The reality of physical thirst is foreign to many people who live in parts of the world where water is abundant. Do you take water for granted? How much water do you use on an average day? If you don't know, I'm guessing it's easy for you to obtain. Maybe you're used to just going to the tap or the shower and turning it on and there's always water. It's not a question. Well, that isn't true for many people in the world. They don't live with that luxury. Water for them is a scarce resource, hard to come by. My wife Robbie and I were fortunate to live in Africa for 11 years, and we were grateful that a spring had been tapped up on the mountain. But we still had to go there to get our water and carry it back to the hut where we lived. And I assure you that carrying heavy buckets of water every day makes you very conservative in how you use water and grateful when it's available. There were times every year when that spring ran dry, and it caused a serious problem for everyone in the village. In this week's Bible reading chapters, we read about another water crisis. In Numbers chapter 20, verse 2, it says, "There was no water for the congregation of Israel, and the people complained bitterly to Moses." At this point in their journey, there were probably 2 million people in the camp of the Israelites. How much water do you think it would take for 2 million people to drink and wash up every day? A lot of water, right? What a burden it must have been on the shoulders of Moses as their leader to try and provide for all the needs of these people. And we know from the biblical account that God met their needs in miraculous ways. It says in Deuteronomy 8, verses 3 and 4, for instance, near the end of their journey, Moses is reminding them that God provided for their needs tenderly through all these years. He gave them manna to eat and kept them healthy. In fact, it says, "Your garments didn't wear out on you, nor did your foot swell these 40 years. God provided miraculously, but I think there were many other ways besides just what's written in the actual text, and I think water must have been one of those provisions. Jesus taught about spiritual thirst in our lives for more of God. In John 7, he said, "If anyone thirsts, let him come to me and drink. He who believes in me, as the scriptures have said, out of his heart will flow rivers of living water." He was probably talking about prophecies that his listeners would have been very familiar with. Let's look at two for an example. Isaiah 58:11 says, "The Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your soul in drought and strengthen your bones. You'll be like a well-watered garden and like a spring of water whose waters do not fail." Or what about Isaiah 44, verse 3, that says, "I will pour water on him who is thirsty and floods upon the dry ground. I'll pour out my spirit on your descendants and my blessing on your offspring." Do you thirst for more of God in your life? In Matthew 5, Jesus taught, "He who hungers and thirsts for righteousness' sake will be satisfied." As God met the needs of the people in the desert those 40 years miraculously, He'll meet your need today if you turn to Him.